Pressure's coming. He's trying to avoid it. Flags come in, and he's taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Dallas Turner chased him down.
2nd and 8. Johnson, pockets collapsing. Down he goes. Turner is there.
Bentley in the backfield. They go to Watkins. Watkins, nothing's there. Ripped down. Dallas Turner read it beautifully.
Hey, everybody. I'm Ted. Yeah, that's just me. I'm Ted. He's Chris. He's Drew. Somewhere in the back is Ruby. And if you haven't figured it out, this is Vikings Report with Drew and Ted and Chris. Gentlemen, how are you?
Ted, I don't want to spoil it for you or nothing, but your name's like right on the bottom of your picture there.
Thanks. I'll look for that for future reference. I had the Bud sticker here, and I thought, is my name Bud? You know, you have the, hi, my name is. No, I'm not Bud. I'm Ted.
You are Ted.
Oh, man.
No, we are back again. Looking at more draft picks, talking about some other stuff. It's going to be a good one. It's always a good one hanging out here with you guys and doing these shows, but it's going to be another good one here this evening, I think.
Drewster, we are at episode 133, brother. How you feeling?
Doing great. Doing great. Looking forward to talking to little Dallas Turner tonight as we get going with this great show. I got to show you something I got in the mail today that I'm very stoked about.
Yeah?
Take a look at this jersey.
Ooh.
Oh!
The steal of the draft.
The sod, baby.
Dude, I love this so much. Almost pissed myself when I got it.
No, so did he. But do not accept any imitation Wizenators, except only the original Wizinator.
I love this jersey.
You know, I will maintain until my dying day, had he not had his devil's lettuce issues, he would have gone down in Minnesota Vikings history as one of the best running backs this team has ever produced. That dude was flipping good, man.
He was
Not
solid.
gonna argue.
Yeah.
Not going to argue with that at all.
University of Oregon?
Yes, and Ruby and I had a chance to sit with his family at a preseason game in San Francisco or Oakland. Oakland or San Francisco, one of those the two we went to, but we got to sit and visit with his whole family and just a bunch of great people and very supportive of him. And then we went down to the team bus afterwards. They were there too. So,
oh, really?
Got to know Mama Smith. Great family, great bunch of people. Treated us very well while we were there. But to this day, I'm in agreement with you, Ted. If that guy could have stayed and figured it out, he was so talented.
You know, you see guys like that, just stuff like that happens in their career, and it's just one of those great what ifs of guys like Ontario Smith. And guys get hurt, guys like Marcus Dupree, the great Oklahoma back, Billy Sims, the great Oklahoma back, and that's just the nature of the business with injuries. But guys like that just sort of metaphorically shoot themselves in the foot with stuff like that that's, I think, within their control. It just irritates me because, man, he could have been so good. Because that was at a time, it was after, a couple years, 2-3 years, I think, after Robert Smith had retired and Michael Bennett had broken his foot and couldn't play anymore. And the Vikings really needed a guy like an RB1. Because this was, 03, 04, 05 timeframe, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he was drafted. I'll look it up. I think he was drafted in 04, but let me look it up here.
And God, if he'd have panned out, you just think the turnaround of the Vikings, that I don't think they would have wandered in the wilderness for as long as they did. But then if he'd have been really good, would they have drafted Adrian Peterson? And would they have been in position to draft Adrian Peterson in 2007? So
that's
who
a
knows?
Good point.
He was drafted in 2003, played for the Vikings in 2004, and then because of all his substance abuse issues, he was suspended for all of 2005 and never played in the NFL again. He wound up in Canada for a year, and then he was just done with football.
What a waste. What a waste. One of those running backs guys, it just seemed effortless to him.
Yeah.
It seemed easy.
It really
for him
did.
To get guarded.
Wasn't it the Monday night game? He said 2003 he was drafted and played 2004, Chris?
Yeah, he was drafted in 2003. He kind of platooned with Mo Williams in 2004. And 2005, his career was over with.
I want to say it was that Monday night game against the Colts when they had the big shootout.
Right.
Dante Culpepper had a great game. I thought maybe it was I don't know. I thought he kind of had a breakout game. Might not have been that game anyway. I thought this guy's going to be so good, and it just didn't happen. Anyways,
Well, at least he's remembered on Vikings Report.
oh, that's a great jersey.
It
Man,
really is.
that's awesome jersey.
Maybe I'll find him and have him on the show.
That'd be awesome.
That
See
would
what
be
he's up to today.
sweet.
We don't drug test for this show, so maybe he can be on.
Thank God.
If we did, we wouldn't have a show.
Smoking doobies. Doobie Brothers. I was smoking doobies with my brothers. Peace out, Seacrest.
All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine.
Damn.
Speaking of drug tests, Ruby, are you out there? How are you doing tonight?
Toots
Drew's locking up a lung there. Hello.
Hi, Toots.
We've got a talking cat, and yet Drew's the one with the hairball. That's impressive.
Toots, I wanted to have you on because I want you to know I found your last freaking sticker.
How'd you find it?
So, I was looking around where you were sitting on draft night, and I'm thinking it's got to be around here somewhere. It's got to be around here. And so my wife has these 2 metal tins of corks because my wife has a bunch of corks because she drinks a lot of wine. And she didn't drink them all, but she collects them, whatever. Anyway, so I lifted up, I hit the button on our recliners. I thought maybe they were under the recliners. I mean, no, they weren't there. And I looked at a couple books on the bookshelf, by there, and they weren't there. I'm like, hey, let me lift up one of these metal tins. Oh, there it was, right there underneath the lid of the metal tin. There we go. Okay.
Finally, took you long enough. So I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that I did a little bit of a trivia.
Yes.
Okay.
The bad news is I didn't have a lot of time, so only have 4.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So see you later then.
All right.
That works.
That'll work.
Yeah, no matter. We take any trivia we can get on this show. We like that segment.
All right, so we've got kind of a turbo show tonight. We said we were going to have a special guest on, but every guest we contacted said, look, we're not going to follow Thor Nystrom. That dude was too good. If you want to go back to 132, check it out. If you are not a believer in J.J. McCarthy, go check out episode 132. Thor does a great breakdown of why J.J. McCarthy was the right pick for the Vikings. We're going to talk Dallas Turner tonight. We got a little bit of news, not a whole lot. But before we get to the news and Dallas Turner, we want to say, hey, head on over to Purple Pain Forums, purplepainforums.com. That's your home away from home, and that's our home on the internet. If you are sick of social media and X or Twitter or Facebook fan groups other than the Gallahorn, head on over to Purple Pain Forums. Great community, great fans, great off-season topics. That's purplepainforums.com. If you want to read about the Vikings and you don't want to pay the ridiculous amount of fees that the Star Tribune charges or the Pioneer Press for their hack beat writers, head on over to the Daily Norseman. That's dailynorseman.com, founded by the one, the only Christopher Gates. Started that blog in 2006. He let me write there for a hot minute, but that's dailynorseman.com, the SB Nation home for your Minnesota Vikings.
We may be hacks, but at least it's free.
Yeah, that's right. And there's no paywall at the Daily Norseman.
Absolutely not. I wouldn't know how to set one up anyway.
And if you ever saw my writing over there, you understand why we didn't charge anything at all. All right.
Off and running.
All right. Before we get going, though, Drew.
Yep. You know what I say, Ted.
What time is it?
I'm cooler than you are. So why don't you fix this little problem and light this candle?
He's right. Why don't you Timberwolves head to the Western Conference Finals and light this candle?
He surely is. Let's go on ahead and light this candle.
Yes. Resume the countdown.
All right, I'm cooler than you are. Why don't you fix your little problems and light this candle?
He's right. Let's light this candle.
He surely is. Light the candle.
Yes. Resume the countdown.
Nailed it.
What's that about the Timberwolves? I don't follow.
Yeah, I
the NBA.
mentioned the Minnesota Timberwolves because they are literally, by winning percentage, I think the worst professional sports franchise in the United States. I mean,
Basically North American professional sports. I think it's...
Out of all sports?
I think so, yeah.
The big four sports, I think they're way down toward the
wow.
bottom.
Wow.
And they advanced to the Western Conference Finals this past week. They are currently in the Western Conference Finals facing the Dallas Mavericks. They are led by a young, energetic superstar named Anthony Edwards. And I want to talk a little bit about this cat, man. This kid, as Stuart Scott, the late, great Stuart Scott would say from ESPN, he is cooler than the other side of the pillow. The Timberwolves were down 3-2, leaving Denver. And there are a couple things he said. He said to the locker room attendant in Denver, he said, hey, as they were heading back to Minnesota for game 6, he said, hey, we'll see you game 7. With just an air of supreme confidence. And the T-Wolves came back and they absolutely blew the doors off Denver in game 6 at Target Center. In game 7, back in Denver, they were down 20 points in the second quarter.
Oh, wow.
Came back and won by 10, I believe it was.
I think it wound up being 8. Yeah, 98-90.
My bad. Won by 8. They overcame the largest deficit in game 7 in NBA history to come back and win on the road, mind you. And in the postgame, and this is something I want to touch on, and I think this is maybe the changing of the doom and gloom. And Drew, Chris, we have talked about this doom and gloom about the Vikings, and I think maybe this kind of extends to Minnesota sports in general. Professional Minnesota sports team, other than Minnesota Lynx, I'm talking about the men's sports, the Big Four, have gone the longest without a championship appearance than any other city. Other than, I think the Twins were the last team to make a finals when they went to the World Series in 1991. And they were talking at Game 7 postgame. They had Karl Anthony Towns, who was a number 1 overall pick in 2015, and they were talking to Anthony Edwards, number 1 overall pick in 2020 for the Wolves. And the reporter asked Karl Anthony Towns, he said, hey, they say before you guys win big, you got to lose. You got to lose big or something like that. And Cat kind of looked at him, kind of googly eyes, like, man, I've been losing for 9 years. What kind of question is that? And he kind of couple expletives. He like, we've been losing for 20 years. What do you mean lose? We lost last year because if you're not familiar with the Wolves, they lost in the first round of the playoffs last year, I believe it was. I mean, what do you mean we got to lose? I've been, and then he kind of reiterated, we lost for 9 years. And the whole time Anthony Edwards was just kind of sitting back like this. And he had his hat on sideways and just kind of looked disinterested. And he leaned forward and he said, them 9 years. And I think that is just the perfect attitude because this kid is 22 years old. He hasn't been here for those decades and decades of losing by the Timberwolves. I think that is the type of attitude and personality you have to have for this team. And not only for the Timberwolves, but let's translate that to the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner and to the Wild for Kirill Kaprizov and for the Twins and whoever they have over there. I just don't follow the Twins, so fill in the blank for the players on the Twins. For those of you in the comments, please do help me out here. But it just feels like if this sports curse that we feel has hung over the city of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota, it's going to have to come from young guys like Anthony Edwards and J.J. McCarthy. Drew.
It will carry over. I mean, I don't know much about the Timberwolves. Basically, everything you told me is pretty much me just learning it. Well, I hope the Timberwolves get it done because it'd be nice to have the same year the first 2 Timberwolves and Vikings get a Super Bowl. I mean, imagine that.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
They haven't won the championship before, have they, Timberwolves?
No, no.
That does translate over from J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner, if you think about it, Ted. They might get caught in the same conversation. And I know McCarthy would be the first one that sticks his head in there and says, we don't care about any of that. I mean, Dallas Turner and J.J. McCarthy together between high school and their colleges are 154-16 with 3 state titles between them both. Those guys aren't used to losing. They have a winning attitude and they have a winning aura about them. And they bring that into the Vikings. Guys that aren't used to losing, they don't lose. And I think that everything you said about the Timberwolves right there has to carry over to what the Vikings, all that never had a Super Bowl, all that stuff doesn't matter to those guys. And that kind of, I don't want to say arrogance, that kind of confidence rolls over to other guys on your team, Ted, Chris. It does. I mean, you may think that's kind of a weird, magical kind of thing, but a winning attitude is a winning attitude, and it starts with the foundation, especially from guys who haven't lost.
The other thing about it is that you can, just from these young athletes, I mean, it's not like, the athletes back in like the 80s and the 90s or whatever. They all hang out, they all know each other, and you watch social media and you see stuff like, yeah, Jordan Addison's at Target Center for Game 6, TJ Hawkinson's at the Target Center for Game 6. All these guys from the Vikings are there. They're going nuts on social media when the Timberwolves are winning games. They're at the building, and they can feel and understand the atmosphere at the games and how the fans are reacting. Is like they're going to sit there and say to themselves, well, damn, we want some of that. I mean, we want fans going crazy for us too, and going to conference championship games and conference finals and whatnot. So it gives them an opportunity, just because they can feed off it more directly. Because, like I said, they're there at the building, and they're friends with the Wolves players, or they're friends with the Twins players, or whatever the case may be, and yeah, so they get to experience it firsthand. That should help it translate over as well, I would think.
Another thing I want to mention about Anthony Edwards, and I look, I'm not a Timberwolves fan by nature. I'm just very happy. I know I have a lot of followers on Twitter that are Timberwolves fans. I've seen them just with their depressive tweets over the years about how bad they have been, and I'm just so happy for them. And I'm just happy for the state of Minnesota, my home state, whatever. But you see Anthony Edwards in post-game press conferences, and I see clips on Twitter and what have you. And he never talks about himself. And Drew, you've mentioned this about J.J. McCarthy, how he always deflects to his teammates. It wasn't me, it was the defense. We had a great game plan from the coaching staff, whatever. And Anthony Edwards, at 22 years old, is the unquestioned leader of the Timberwolves. But he never says, yeah, it was me. They gave me the ball and I made the shot and I drove the lane or whatever. He always deflects to Karl Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert or Mike Conley or Chris Finch, the head coach. It's never the game runs through me. It's always him deflecting to his teammates and saying, look, it was not me, it was us. And you've always said this about J.J. McCarthy when he was at Michigan. Anthony Edwards is just built different, man. He is a cat of a different breed. And I saw this thing on the Vikings YouTube page about kind of behind his almost a 20-minute clip about McCarthy and Dallas Turner and all the other guys that got drafted. And McCarthy, he told Kevin O'Connell at Combine, he said, look, you draft me, I'm going to run through a wall for you. And I truly believe this, that Edwards and McCarthy are both cut from a different cloth. And this is going to pay dividends for the Vikings like it's paying dividends for the Timberwolves now with Anthony Edwards.
It's well said.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
No.
I'm just putting too much hope into this.
No. We need the mojo in this city or in this state. Minnesota does. I mean, I follow hockey pretty closely, and it wasn't probably 3-4 years ago. The Wild had the best farm system. They were loaded with picks. They had great lineup, and they were right on the verge of. I mean, there's a couple seasons going into the season. I said they're going to make the final. They're going to be in the Stanley Cup final, and they didn't get there. So it's like, I don't know if it's the state. It's weird. It's weird. I hope the Timberwolves get it done.
I do too. One other thing I want to mention is, and Chris, you follow the Timberwolves a lot closer than I do. Last year when they traded for Rudy Gobert, and is that how you pronounce his name, or is it Gobert?
I believe it's Gobert. Yeah.
Okay. He just won the NBA's best defensive player of the year.
Yeah. It was his fourth defensive player of the year award.
So last year they traded for him, and they gave up an awful lot to get him.
And they got ripped for it too.
They did. And it was like, what, 3 first-round draft picks? And, I mean, it was almost like a Herschel. People were calling it the Herschel Walker trade of the NBA. Some people were. Am I wrong in that?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, they gave up a ton to get Rudy Gobert.
And the Timberwolves got bounced in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now they are in the Western Conference Finals, and they have home court advantage. And there's a very good chance they could go to the NBA Finals and win the whole damn thing. And now you kind of look over at the Minnesota Vikings and some of the trades Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah has made, and you think, God, he's just made some bad trades. And I personally don't think he has, other than maybe his very first trade when he traded down in the draft in 2022. But this team is starting to take shape. You take away Kirk Cousins' injury last year, I think they're a playoff team. I think they would have done a lot better than 7-10. And I think this year, we've talked about it, this is a playoff team, and next year they're going to make a run. I'm telling you, I see a lot of parallels between this Vikings team and this Timberwolves team. And maybe it's just me being the ultimate homer. I just feel it is.
But see, the thing about those deals, I mean, you talk about the Gobert trade, you talk about the Herschel Walker trade. They're only bad trades if they don't work. I mean, if the Vikings win a Super Bowl with Herschel Walker at running back, nobody gives a damn how much they gave up to get him. It's not a punchline in National Football League circles anymore. But because, they didn't and Walker fizzled out in Minnesota and then bounced around the league for a while, it's a joke. It's a punchline. But, the Gobert thing, they got panned for it last year. And, now that he's kind of helped lead the team to the Western Conference Finals, the peanut gallery is a lot more quiet than it was last year when it comes to Gobert. So you got to give some of these things some time. I mean, you talked about the first trade Kwesi made. Lewis seen that first year broke his leg 4 games into the season, didn't play. Last year, it might have still been kind of recovering from that. And the Vikings got such great safety play from the 3 guys they ran out there last year that it's probably hard for him to get snaps while he was recovering. I mean, he's still got a chance to become something, but I mean, time might be running out on him. But you gotta give that enough time to marinate.
And then the other trades he's made since then have been pretty good. The T.J. Hawkinson trade was pretty good. The 2 trades he made in this draft to get J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner, I think, have been fine. Drew,
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with the trades so far. I don't know about you, but I think these last 2 trades in this 2024 draft are going to be the ones that are the difference makers for this franchise in the coming years.
I think so too. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about Dallas Turner tonight and this whole Vikings team as the days get closer to the season opener. We're 120 days or something.
Yep.
I keep gaining more confidence, Ted, that this season's going to be better than I thought it was back in February.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's kind of getting momentum, getting a little momentum.
All right. So you said you're excited to talk about Dallas Turner?
Yeah, Ted.
So let's talk about Dallas Turner, Drew Bunny.
Yeah, baby. Not to be confused with the great Ike Turner, Ted.
No. Or his tackling dummy, the late, great Tina Turner.
Oh, yeah, or Lana Turner. Lana Turner or Kathleen Turner?
Ooh, it's a tough call.
In her prime, I got to go with Kathleen Turner.
I kind of tend to agree with Ted there.
Body Heat, it's an all-time masterful movie.
Yeah.
Now that we've covered all the Turners.
Yeah.
Ike was the hardest hitter of all those, though, we just mentioned.
Well, by some distance, yeah. Yeah. We're absolutely going to hell.
So last week we talked 10th overall pick J.J. McCarthy. This week, 17th overall pick Dallas Turner. As we all know, the Vikings were sitting at the 23rd overall pick. They moved up to 17 overall. I meant to get the trade details, but I do not have them in front of me. But the Vikings saw an opportunity to get the top-rated defensive player in the 2024 draft. Considered the top defensive player in the 2024 draft by many people. Vikings moved up and got him. Seems to be the perfect fit for a Brian Flores defense. Drew, why don't you tell us a little bit about Dallas, Texas Turner?
The great Dallas Turner. St. Thomas Aquinas High School. You remember that high school, Ted?
I do.
The high school for both Bosas. Both of your Bosa boys went there.
Nick and Joey.
Yep. Michael Irvin went there. Asante Samuel Jr. So
is that where Michael Irvin discovered the white powdery substance known as cocaine?
The names for hockey teams just came through. Utah's expansion team. Somebody wants to name it the Powder. And I said, that'd be better for Miami, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
You see where Michael Irvin got fired from the NFL Network, by the way?
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I did see a post about that.
Yeah.
He'll hook up somewhere else. He'll annoy us from some other location, Ted.
Yeah, he will.
Damon Arnett went there, first-round pick by the Raiders in 2020. It all started there in high school for him. You know who his defensive line coach was in high school?
I do not.
The great Jason Taylor from the Dolphins.
Really?
He was his defensive line coach for 2 years, and then he became the defensive coordinator there for a year. And now he's at Hurricanes in Miami. He's a defensive line coach there, defensive end coach, whatever. Either
Is
one.
he really?
Yeah, but he was his high school coach. And never going wrong learning from that guy. That guy knew how to play rush the passer just as good as anybody. Kind of a Brian Burns type of guy is what he reminds me of. Maybe a Shaq Lawson. We went over all this when we talked about it on our draft show, Ted. But the only thing I can look at and say is when you watch a tape, player after player after player, some people's splash plays look a lot different than other people's splash plays. Randy Marshall, his splash plays look different from every other receiver. There's certainly some good defensive ends in the draft. Latu, he's a good player, but you look at Dallas Turner's splash plays, they just stand out more. They stand out more than the other players. 6'3", 247. What about the 4.46? The combine? He ran the fastest 40 time for any edge player at the combine. He also had the highest vertical jump. So he covered all the bases there. Probably the main thing I like is the burst and the closing speed that he has. If you watch him on tape, he can get to the quarterback faster than anybody in college football off the edge. Got amazing speed, and that's going to come in handy for the Vikings. The wider out you get him, the better you can be, because he doesn't take him long to get to the quarterback. His speed is undeniable when you watch it. In the closing and tackling, I like everything about Dallas Turner. And I said before in our show that if McCarthy's gone and have to pick at 11, I said they were going to take Turner.
You did. I remember I went back and watched that, and you absolutely
sure
did say
did.
that. Yep.
So I'm pretty happy that they got McCarthy and Turner. I'm like, that's it for the draft. Everything else is extra after that.
And they still have their first-round pick next year, too.
Mhm.
Yes. Disruptive, explosive, all the words you want to use. He's a fantastic player. 5-star coming out of high school. Gets to Alabama, SEC Player of the Year. When you do that at every level you're at, you're not going to be a bust. You're going to be a good player. So I am looking forward to seeing how good he is when he's fully developed. He's not even there yet, guys. His biggest problem is his hand placement. When he learns how to use his hands and a couple more moves off the outside, he's going to be really, really good. Don't expect him to come in and get 5 sacks week 1 or anything. There is going to be a little bit of a learning curve, so I don't want people to get down on him thinking he's supposed to be Carl Eller week 1, because he's still got a little bit of a curve to learn from, as you all know.
So Drew, now that he's in Minnesota, obviously the comparison the folks are going to make is going to be with Danielle Hunter, since the Vikings lost him this past offseason. How do you think he compares to Danielle Hunter, kind of like in terms of where he is now compared to where like Hunter was when? Because Hunter came in that first season, I think he might have led the team in sacks as a rookie. I'm not 100% sure, only playing like half the time. So I'd have to go back and look that up, but he racked up quite a few sacks after not doing a whole lot in colleges last year.
Yeah, and one of the things Saban liked about him was when he was a freshman, Dallas Turner, he got 9 sacks. That's hard to do in Alabama when you're a freshman. People are comparing him to Will Anderson. Well, I saw an interview with Saban, and Saban says he reminds him more of Donta Hightower, the guy that has 3 Super Bowl rings with the Patriots. That's who he reminds him more of. But the thing about it is with Hunter, I don't think anybody's as freakish as Hunter, are there? I mean, how can you even compare anybody to that guy? I think Hunter was just an anomaly. He's got the moves. He's got the leverage. He's athletic. I think Dallas Turner could end up being better than Hunter, but he's going to have to pay his dues. I don't think he's quite the talent that Danielle Hunter is right off the bat.
Just for the record, Hunter was second on the team in sacks. His rookie year was 6. Everson Griffin led the team with 10.5.
Okay.
A lot of draft people put, a lot of things on technique and grade everything by all the metrics and all this kind of stuff when they're grading players. Sometimes you just have to look at the athletic guys and go, that guy could play. And that's what you see with Dallas Turner. I think Hunter has more pass rush moves. I don't think he's better off the edge, but Danielle Hunter's made to play football. I mean, how many guys are cut out like that guy? I think he can replace him in time, but I'm not going to hold him to getting double-digit sacks his first season.
So after the Vikings drafted Turner, I'll admit I didn't think the Vikings were leading up to the draft. I thought they were going to have, they're going to have to spend all their ammo to get a quarterback, and they weren't going to pick again until the 4th round. So I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to anybody other than quarterbacks. I watched a lot of highlights on Dallas Turner, and the thing that stood out to me was, and Drew, you mentioned it, is his speed. I just looked at Danielle Hunter. His measurables he is 6'5", 263. Dallas Turner's, 247? You get him in an NFL weight room, he'll be about 255, 260. He's going to be really close in terms of height and weight to Danielle Hunter. He runs a 4.4 40.
Yeah, when he showed up in Alabama, he was 224.
You give him coaching and tutoring under Brian Flores and the defensive staff the Vikings have. And he played in the SEC, and that is that's not the whack. I mean, that is the best of the best. And even against Michigan, he was making plays against Michigan in the national semifinal game.
Yeah, he had a sack in that game.
The guy is every bit the playmaker on defense, and I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be on offense. And I think he's fortunate that with the signings that you saw in the offseason with Jonathan Grenard and Blake Cashman and Andrew Van Ginkel, that he's not going to be forced to be the guy. He's going to be in a healthy rotation, and he's going to be able to be moved around. The one thing I really like about Brian Flores is he's going to move guys around and find out what they do best and what positions they excel at. And he's going to put these guys in a position to succeed. So I'm not worried about his production. I'm not worried about his numbers and his sacks. I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks no matter where they put him. And I think this defense is going to be set up for success this year. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
And when he gets fired up and learns the system, let's not forget he's going for Alabama, doesn't run the same defensive system Flores runs. So
right.
When people are expecting things right out of the gate, he's got to learn all this stuff. So I don't think it's going to take him long to learn it, but I'm going to give him a while to acclimate himself to what they're doing defensively, because it's not like Alabama. I mean, Alabama, they ran a 4-3. He had like one job, get to the quarterback. He's going to have more area to cover now. He's going to have to brush up his stuff against the run. But overall, the guy's a fantastic football. We're lucky to have gotten him. Yeah. It's exactly what you're exactly right. JJ and Dallas Turner. You got two real shot in the arm for the offense and the defense. What do you think, Chris?
So you did say that his one job was basically to get to the quarterback. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of Alabama football. I mean, they're on TV a lot, but I didn't see a lot of their games, whatnot. Was he not asked to do a lot of dropping into coverage or any of that sort of thing, or was it just basically, yeah, you go get the quarterback every single time?
Well, his thing was not only quarterback, it was just to get in the backfield. He led the team in tackles for loss with 14.5. He had 11 sacks, 53 tackles, 2 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles. He spends a lot of time in the backfield. The thing you notice on tape you got to like about Dallas Turner, guys, is if you're playing against a mobile quarterback who's running from one side to the other, he can see where the guy's going and cut off the angle. He is very experienced on knowing where guys are going to head to. Chris Doman was very good at it. I'm not going to chase him over there because he's going to go here. So I'm going to go over here and he's going to run into me. Dallas Turner is great at reading plays, and he's just as good as the unscripted plays as he is in the scripted ones. So he is going to kill some tackles, Ted.
Because of his speed, one thing I noticed, his lateral pursuit. He's a good tackler. And one thing that the Vikings have been just bad at is opposing teams being able to get to the edge and get yards, turn the corner and just get upfield. And Turner is really good about not letting teams set the edge on his side of the ball, because he can set the edge or pursue laterally and just stretch the play out and not let the back turn the corner and get upfield. And a lot of plays I saw, he would just kind of run parallel to the line of scrimmage and not necessarily make the play because he knew guys were coming in pursuit to help. And so he would kind of parallel the play, parallel the ball carrier, or parallel the quarterback. And either the quarterback could throw the ball out of bounds, throw the ball away, or the ball carrier would not get any yards because, you've got 5 guys coming to the ball, and the ball carrier would either lose yardage or go for a minimal gain. And that's the one thing that I would love to see in this defense is, God almighty, just on plays to the outside, just not let the back get outside for 5, 6, 7 yards, because that just absolutely has killed this defense when opposing teams run the ball. Just if they can hold opposing teams to 1 or 2 yards on first or second down running the ball, that is going to help the defense immeasurably, especially running the ball to the outside. And I think Dallas Turner is going to not, you talk about rushing the passer, which is going to be huge, obviously, but that I think is kind of an unsung part of his game that not a lot of people talked about.
Yeah, he had 11 sacks for Alabama last year, and they had him at a hand in the dirt defensive end. Just think when you stand that guy up out of the stance and give him free reign off the edge, dude, he has got a chance to be a 20-sack guy. He's that fast because tackles are going to have to cheat out to get him. I mean, you put him on the side of, I guess it'd be the weak side or whatever, and let him just deal one-on-one with that tackle, split him out 9, get him out wide. I'm telling you, the wider, the better on tape. That guy can get to the quarterback in like 2 seconds. It's crazy. The Vikings are putting him at the right spot, and they give him the right teacher. Brian Flores, that he's lucky to be able to learn under Brian Flores. Is going to help him in his career.
I can't wait till he blindsides Caleb Williams, who fumbles the ball, and it's going to be picked up by Blake Cashman, who scoops it and goes 42 yards for the game-winning touchdown. That is gonna be glorious. I'm just saying.
Glorious fumble recovery at Lambeau Field.
Well, Soldier Field, but whatever.
Either way.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, Jordan Love, that'll work too. Lambeau Field, I don't care. Either one, both. That'll be fine. I'm just telling you, I'm fired up with this team. I think the Vikings had a great draft. I think they had a great offseason. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this team.
I think so too.
And at the end of the year, they're going to go, man, what were we thinking? This is a good football team. Ted was right.
Dallas Turner and Rip Van Ginkel and Grenard, those are three. If anything, those are the three best tackling guys you could have out scrambling around chasing ball carriers down. The Vikings front seven is going to be gnarly, dude.
That's going to be pretty good.
No shirt, no shoes, no dies.
All right. So, and by the way, a lot of people are putting money on McCarthy and Turner being the offensive and defensive rookies of the year. Isn't that the current Vegas odds-on favorite right now, Chris?
I believe so. I wonder where they got that idea from. Oh, right. I said that during the schedule show last week.
Yes, he did.
That's pretty impressive. Don't say I don't got pull, because I do.
We'll have that game against next year, and it's bumped up to 175 for the payout if somebody can nail it. Nail it.
Yeah.
Exciting time, exciting player, exciting era for Minnesota sports in general, and the Minnesota Vikings and Minnesota Timberwolves in particular. So I want to talk about real quick the Vikings drafts under Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa, at least the early round picks. J.J. McCarthy, University of Michigan. Dallas Turner, Alabama. Kyrie Jackson, Oregon. Walter Rouse, Oklahoma. Will Reichert, Alabama. Jordan Addison, USC. Mekhi Blackman, USC. Jay Ward, Jaqueline Roy, LSU. Lewis Cine, Georgia. Andrew Booth, Clemson. Ed Ingram, LSU. Brian Asamoah, Oklahoma. You notice the trend there, boys?
Yeah, we're not taking dudes from Bologna Tech in the third and fourth rounds anymore. That's
not in the early rounds. Not in the early rounds. Now they take flyers on guys in later rounds. Guys, you know, the athlete guys that you know they maybe reject and all that, but they're looking at Power 5 conference guys from schools that have won a ton of games and have been to the college football playoff and have won national championships. I mean, there's a reason they are picking guys from those schools, and it's not because you know, they got a pretty good academic program in biology. I mean, I'm just saying.
Hey, Chris, isn't Bologna Tech where Ryan Day is going to coach after next year?
If he doesn't beat Michigan, he better not even go to Bologna Tech. He better go to like
what's the matter, you?
the mentally challenged culinary school for the
blind.
deaf.
Yeah. Joy.
Listen to Ted.
He inherited a national championship caliber team, and he hasn't done jack damn it since 2019.
They're going to replace him with PJ Flex and start taking him to the Pop-Tart Bowl.
If Ryan Day does not win the Big Ten and go to the national championship this year, I'm done with him. I'm done with Ryan Day. If he doesn't beat Michigan this year, they better fire him before he gets back to the locker room. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Meow, meow, meow.
I mean, Ohio State had some dude at their commencement who was railing on about Bitcoin for 20 minutes. I mean, this is my school is going off the rails, man. What's going on in Columbus? I don't know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Columbus, Ohio.
Doesn't matter. This is the Viking show. Nobody cares about Ohio State. I'm going through it right now, boys. I'm going
to bring my stickers over in November, and we're going to watch that game together this year.
Yeah, we are. You got to come to the house for the draft next year, Chris. We got to get a big conference table. We'll set it all up.
We'll see if we can make that work. That'd be kind of sweet. I'm not going to lie.
All right, so that's it for Dallas Turner. That's it for F them 9 years. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to do a little trivia, and then we'll get you guys out of here.
Ontario!
My fellow Vikings, now is the time to don our purple garb and golden braids. Time to raise our horns and proclaim, this is our year.
This is our
more, yeah!
Don't ruin this for me, Connie.
The point is, we got an itch to win, and there's a new way to scratch.
Play the new Viking scratch game from the Minnesota Lottery with a chance to score up to $100,000, season tickets, and more.
So I only had time to do 4. As you can see, these are all the picture puzzles. You're going to see the picture and you have to name the person. It could be a player or somebody else, just a person. And it's all about the NFL draft this year.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Name the player.
Caleb Williams.
No.
Malik Neighbors.
Yes! Did you guys see where he called Daniel Jones Daniel Dones?
No, I did not.
No, I did not.
Is he on the Giants?
Yes! They asked him what he thought of the quarterback, and he said he called him Daniel Dones.
Did you see the picture the day he signed his contract? It looked like he was about ready to cry. Or not his contract, the day he got picked or whatever. Yeah, he looked like he was ready to cry.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, you guys didn't get that. So here's 200. Name the player.
Oh, that's Michael Penix waiting for Kirk Cousins to finally leave Atlanta.
That is correct.
Oh.
We're a month out from the draft, and I still don't understand that pick.
Yeah, and the coach said in his presser, even if he sits behind Cousins for 4 to 5 years, like what?
No.
He'll be 44.
Penix or Cousins?
Yes.
Terrible pick. I would have rather had Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch than that guy.
All right, here we go. Number 3, name the player.
Oh.
Kyler Murray.
Yes. Do you get it?
God.
I don't get it.
Kyler Murray is so small he's driving a Matchbox.
Yes, Drew, come on.
Oh!
Him's just a widow guy.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous.
All right, last one. Name the person.
That's Roger Goodell.
That's Roger Goodell.
Yes, it is.
Who still hasn't completely sobered up from day one.
I thought by the 4th round he was going to come out butt naked.
All right, that was it. See you guys next time.
Absolutely, that was fun.
Thanks, Ruby. All right, that'll do it for episode 133. Is in the books. Go Wolves. Just win the whole damn thing, man. There's not going to be an episode next week. As we speak, as you watch this show, I am in Canada fishing. I am probably also hungover. And I'm going to be doing some more drinking and more fishing.
No way.
So we will not be doing a show next week, but we will be back. When we are back in 2 weeks, we'll be talking about 4th round pick.
Kyrie Jackson.
There you go. That's the guy's name. Cornerback Kyrie Jackson. And we'll try and get it. We'll try and get a special guest on for Kyrie Jackson. So for me, folks, thanks so much for watching, subscribing, tuning in, commenting. I just, again, the show keeps growing and getting bigger. And that's what she said. And we are getting ready for training camp and the regular season. And I'm getting more and more excited, more and more fired up. I can't wait to get going and doing another season, another Vikings Report Rewind with you guys. And as for me, I'll try and do better the next time. Chris, say goodnight. Drew, take us home.
Man, another fun show. It was supposed to be a turbo show. We got a full hour out of this bad boy. That's pretty impressive. Can't complain too much about that. But no, it's always fun being able to do this. No show next week, but we'll be back into it, and hopefully this off season won't drag on too long, and we can finally get to training camp and some actual honest to God football to talk about. Because between now and July, there ain't gonna be a whole lot happening, unfortunately. So let's hope it goes quickly.
Thank you so much, guys, for talking football tonight. It was fun covering Dallas Turner. We will be back after Ted's fishing trip. They call Ted 007. Why do they call you that, Ted? When you go fishing?
No, that's my brother. That's what I call my
Why do they
brother.
call your brother 007?
No catches, no bites for 7 hours of fishing.
Episode 133. Put it in the bin, put it in the box. Dallas Turner, get ready to rock. Kathleen Turner, meow meow. Chris, say good night.
Good night, Chris.
Say good night, Ted.
Good night, Ted. Wizinator.
Yeah!
The original. No substitutes.
Ontario!